What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Movie Crack. Roll it, boys. Shelby Oaks, directed by the famous YouTuber Chris Stuckman. But did it Stuckmanize? So the story follows a group of YouTubers who make videos about the paranormal who go missing, and they're led by Riley, played by Sarah Dern. Essentially, this group goes missing very early in the movie, and we follow Riley's sister in her search to find answers. Her sister is Mia, played by Camille Sullivan, and she's easily the highlight of this movie performance wise. So, the story for me has some highs and lows, especially the way that it was made. One of those highs is the fact that it transitions kind of from a documentary kind of a perspective to the actual movie itself, and I really like that. In fact, the intro to this movie and this story is one of the best intros I've seen in a horror movie in a long time, I would say. The intro sequence actually reminded me a lot of the Hell House movies, which I just watched recently. Has that kind of creepy handheld footage vibe crossed with kind of interviews at the same time, and I really like that. A big event occurs after the intro sequence, and shit kind of goes down from there. And yes, we are following Mia. She's like the main character looking for Riley, and she's kind of picking up breadcrumbs on this trail to find her sister. And as the movie goes on, does she find answers or does she not? I kind of can't say any much more than that without giving too much spoilers away. Starting off with the positives of the story, you were invested in the character, the main character. You really did want her to find what she was looking for. She has this genuine, almost grief in the movie, and it makes you care about her a lot, actually. There are negatives too to her character. She kind of makes very irresponsible decisions sometimes for somebody who kind of comes across as kind of mature, but she is desperate, I guess you could say. These decisions include going to very sketch locations in the middle of the night on her own, not taking a weapon, nothing really but a flashlight. And as I said in the movie, watching, I was kind of like, well, why didn't you just go in the daytime? Can you not see the same things? You know, why would you go in the middle of the night? It was kind of very confusing that way at times. Overall, the conclusions to the story I didn't love, but I also didn't hate. I kind of saw what he was going for. And it was good the way he played around with the idea of, is it supernatural, or is it serial killer, or is it kind of, what is it that's causing all of the havoc, you know? And I like that about the movie. They kind of leave it in your hands to kind of conclude a lot of it, especially after the movie ends. And some people are going to love that, some people are going to hate that. I personally don't mind it once the film is made well, and I kind of enjoy it as it goes. Also, I felt that the ending conclusion was definitely a bit rushed, and things were happening very fast, so fast you couldn't really process how much time had gone by or why certain things are the way they are. And that was kind of a bummer. So, as I said, overall story, very mixed bag for me. I liked some of it, I didn't like some of it. Moving on to the pacing. This movie is only an hour and 35 minutes long, I believe, or an hour and 30 minutes or so. Definitely didn't overstay its welcome, which I always appreciate, especially coming off the back of the Black Phone 2, which was way too long for what it was trying to do. This movie knows what it wanted to do, and it knew how long to take to do it, and I really appreciated that about the pacing of Shelby Oaks. Does it feel a little forced and a little rushed at times? Yes. Maybe it could have taken an extra 15 or so minutes to let us digest things that were going on, you know? But overall, story and pacing, I've definitely seen worse. I've definitely seen better. I'm going to go 3.5 out of 5. Moving on to the visuals. I gotta say, the movie visually looked very good. It was well made. I gotta give him credit there. The movie's very good at building atmosphere. The settings that the movie decides to use allow for a lot of atmosphere building. You know, it's a very atmospheric, spooky movie, and a lot of that comes across through the visuals. Some of the horror sequences are very subtle and is very unseen and in your face without loud sounds and things to kind of boost it. And I felt like the movie was strongest when it decided to go that way. There are definitely some jump scare sequences that I felt were very unnecessary. The movie uses light very well. For example, there's a scene where there's a character standing on a porch, and all you can see is the outline of the character and it's very spooky. It has a great Halloween kind of a vibe to it, and I really liked when the movie hit those notes. As for creative direction, as I said, I really liked the way the movie combined handheld footage, kind of documentary style, with actual filmmaking as well. But creatively, some of the decisions the characters kind of are written to make, I didn't really like. I will say about visuals, there is one really big nitpick I had. There's the use of dogs in this movie, and for some reason, CGI is used to portray the dogs, and it's very in your face and very obvious at one point. And it was so unnecessary. They didn't have to do that. Like, CGI does not work well in a film like this because it's so down to earth and so simple. Overall, visuals and direction, I'm gonna go 3.5 out of 5. Moving on to sound, I must say the sound in this movie I really liked. The movie uses simple sounds like somebody breathing very effectively. But then sometimes it ruins that lovely flow of intense, slow tension with a loud bang for a jump scare, a cheap jump scare. And I really didn't like that about the movie. It was best when it was subtle and it was kind of spooky and tense. If they kept that the whole way through without the loud bangs for jump scares and things like that, it would have done a lot better. Also, things like footsteps and that kind of a thing, really good sound building tension. I really like that about the movie. As for music, I mean, music was pretty forgettable. Nothing stuck out. But for the tension alone that the sounds were able to kind of build, I'm going to give sound and score a 3.5 out of 5. So there you have it, folks. 3.5 out of 5. Final score for Shelby Oaks. For a directorial debut, it definitely was not a bad attempt, I will say. The movie does have a good spook factor to it, a good atmosphere to it. I don't think the movie has that return factor, though. I don't think I will watch this movie again anytime soon. And for me, that's a sign of a classic or non classic very quickly, you know? But kudos to Chris Duckman. Fair play to you. You made a film, it hit the theaters, and it was pretty good. What more could you want? That being said, I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully, it's a good one. That's all I got for today. Good luck.